Hello everyone and welcome back to jQuery lessons on Codecademy. So in the last lesson we used what we had learned so far to make an interactive button that faded and unfaded, I guess, depending on where our mouse was towards the button. If it was on the button, then it became less opaque, and if it was away from the button, its opacity increased, or decreased actually. Today we're going to be looking at functions, so let's get started. Functions are the basic unit of action in jQuery. The main entry point of most jQuery applications is a block of code that looks like this. So you have something like the document and .ready. So this is once the document loads, you're saying do something. But in that do something, you might also specify other things before that. So let's go through it bit by bit. So $$ document is a jQuery object. Just like in CSS you might have .class or something, here you have this. The $ parentheses is actually a function in disguise. It turns the document into a jQuery object. So this is a function, basically what to take out from that for now. .ready is a type of function. So most things that are with parentheses after them are functions. And you can think of it as sort of a helper that runs the code inside its parentheses as soon as the HTML document is ready. Function with parentheses and then curly braces is the action that .ready will perform as soon as the HTML document is loaded. So in the above example, the do something placeholder is where those actions would go. So in here. Instructions then. Practice makes perfect. Set up your jQuery code in the script.js. Tab with this. So let's copy that. Oops, not just V, Ctrl V. And pass it a function that will immediately hide the orange div on the result tab. So immediately, once this is loaded, is what that's going to mean. You can use jQuery.hide effect to do this. So we want, and then this element that we are looking at is a div, and what we want from that div is to put $, and then inside here we want div, and then we want .hide. Let's see, that should do it instantly if we don't forget the semicolon. Let's do that, and okay. And don't be like me and forget the function in here. So basically, what I had done was, oops, not that. I had done, what am I doing? Stop. There we go. So what I did was something like this. But what you actually need to do is put function here with parentheses, delete that one bracket, and then put a closing one there. So if you do that, then it's going to work properly. So let's move on. Functions part 2, functions explained. A function is made up of 3 parts: the function keyword, any inputs that function takes, they go between the parentheses and are separated by commas if there are multiple, and whatever actions are the function should perform, so these go between the curly braces. The general form is, so you have function input 1, input 2, and if there are more inputs, then separate each one by a comma. And then between the curly braces, as you can see, you have do different things. And this one is going to get done first, then this, then this. So one of the nice things about jQuery is that you can give a function just about anything as an input, even another function. That's why .ready can take function between its parentheses. It's taking a function as input. So you can take functions as input in most programming languages. I haven't met a programming language so far that cannot do that. So if you're interested, you can learn more about functions in the JavaScript track. Instructions. Check out the code in script.js. It includes a new jQuery action, .click, that we'll learn more about soon. So I'm guessing something's going to happen once we click a button, or the left mouse button probably. See how we pass functions to both .ready and click as inputs. So as you can see, we're passing functions to both of them, the part that I was forgetting before. When you're ready, click Save and Submit Code, then click on the orange div in the Result tab to see Fade Out effect. So you don't have to click Save and Submit, you can do it at the same time. So if we click anywhere else outside the div, then it's not going to happen. If we click in the div, then it's going to fade out slowly. Well, I don't know if it's slowly, but yeah, it is slow, never mind. But it's not extremely slowly. You can change it with numbers, but that's fine for now. Variables. So variables are a place for us to store information for use at a later time. Variables can hold any type of information you work with, so just think of them as containers. The biggest container, well, what I would mainly call as a container is an array or something like that, or a list. But these are also containers, smaller containers. The single equal sign, so when it's single, don't do multiple equal signs because that means a different thing, is used to assign values. For instance, in jQuery you can write variable, so var lucky equals 7 and semicolon, which means that lucky is 7, and then whenever you use lucky it's going to mean 7. So if you say 1 plus lucky and print that to the screen or the console, you're going to get 8 as output. Then you have name equals Codecademy, and it's a string object. I know it's a string because you have quotation marks around it. And then you have variable $p equals $p. I guess we will see what that means. So our first variable contains a number 7, while the second variable contains some text, Codecademy. Our third variable stores the result of a jQuery selector. In this case, the paragraph, I think, and the variable $p. As you can see, this is just a handy way to save this information for later. So why do we do this? Well, up until now we haven't had to modify anything more than once. If we wanted to change the web page based on new information, we would need to store that information in variables first. Maybe you want to create a loading page and have it vanish as you receive that information. It would be a great idea to use variables. So if the user enters something, that thing can vary and you need it in memory first, so that, or in a container such as a variable, so that you can use it multiple times later on. Instructions, check out the preview window. Oh, and back to when the user enters something. If you want to use their input more than once, then you won't want to ask the user for the input more than once, because then the user will get annoyed. So yeah, instructions, check out the preview button. Preview window, sorry. All looks well and good except for number 4. jQuery, okay. Create the variable called $target in JavaScript in script.js. I'm guessing after this, and use the equal sign to assign it to the jQuery selector that represents number 4 in the ordered list. When you run your code, it should fade away. So let's find that. It's li. So we want to call it target. Yep, it equals. I can't find the $ easily for some reason. li. And it should be this li, but I think that if I do this, then all of them are going to disappear. Let's see. Submit code, maybe? No. Okay. So I looked at the hint and I wasn't expecting it to want us to use classes or IDs, but it does. So you do need to know HTML and CSS for this one. So what you can do here is name this li to have an ID or class or whatever you want, and I will name it, in this case, target. And now I can just use dot target, or no, IDs have that. And okay, now that I have that set, I can make it disappear. So target fade out equals fast. Oh, it should disappear now. Oh, or maybe not. Is it dot there? I can't remember correctly. Oh, write it out on line 3. Okay then, so we need to put that there, and it is with a pound symbol. So if we save and submit now, you can see that the fourth one disappeared, the fourth statement. Good, let's move on. So this versus this. You probably noticed that we used both $sign and $sign with parentheses in the last exercise. So there's a subtle difference between the two. $P is just a variable name. There is no magic associated with the $sign in $P. You can literally just call it P or anything. It doesn't have to be there. So this symbol doesn't have to be here. It's just a convention for saying, hey, this variable contains a jQuery object. So this is just to tell the person who's looking at the code that it's a jQuery object. It doesn't have to be there. You can specify it in your own way if you're the only one who's doing it, but this is the way that most people will recognize a jQuery object as. So we could call $P anything we want. $paragraph, just paragraph, space cows, whatever. Just helpful for people reading our code to see $P, since this is a concise way of saying, hey, there's a P jQuery object in here, or paragraph jQuery object. So $P or $sign with parentheses, on the other hand, is magic, so you have to do it this way. This is the function in disguise that creates jQuery objects. So if you're making a jQuery object, you have to use it. So remember, we told you to ignore the paragraph equals in the last lesson. Well, now you know what it does. You also know that it should have been $P. Create a variable $div and assign it to a div jQuery object using equal sign. No need to use $document ready or any additional code. Okay, easy enough. And then we want $. There we go. Good. So we are done for this lesson. So if you guys enjoyed this video, then please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask in the comment zone below. I will be answering them ASAP. Also, if you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. Tell me in the comments down below why you didn't enjoy it so that I can improve for next time. But until that next time, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and goodbye.